I'm excited. I'm excited because coaching has been a new service that I have incorporated in my private practice. And part of the reason that this is a part of my private practice is because this is very near and dear to me as a Black woman who was diagnosed with ADHD 16 years ago. And I say that, I lead with that because I did not know what was happening to me for 21 years of my life in terms of my nervous system, how my brain worked, school, all the things. And really, track was the only thing that I think grounded me. I was good at it. It was a good way to get my energy out. I'm a kinesthetic learner, and I was good. I excelled. I got 2 track scholarships. But when I was diagnosed 15 years ago, I didn't have support. I didn't have support. I didn't understand the diagnosis. I didn't really know what was going on. So I got on the medication. Um, again, didn't have support, didn't really know what was happening to me, and it just didn't feel right. It was impacting my running, it was impacting my friendships, my relationships. It wasn't worth it. So I just cold turkey walked away from the diagnosis for 15 years. And, during that time, I was able to function. I got 2 masters, got a doctorate, married, kids, all the things, but I always felt on edge. I always felt anxious. I always felt frustrated. I always felt just not good, honestly. On the outside, I looked great, but on the inside, I was struggling. And so knowing that I've had this special ed background, because I'm an educator and former educator in the classroom, but I'm always an educator and always a student of life. But I realized that I'm not the only Black woman out there who struggles. And I'm not the only Black woman who is out there trying to just really achieve her life's goals, but really not knowing which way is up. So the coaching services, the Illuminate Her one-on-one coaching services was really born from my journey, and I know that it can serve you. Now, I say Black women because I'm a Black woman, but really I want to nurture women of color because we are marginalized. We are looked at as less than, we are seen as feisty or angry or whatever it is. And a lot of it is because we're misunderstood. And more than often, we think of ADHD as a white people thing or a white man thing. And we need to just debunk that. So this is the pyramid of resilience, and this is something that I've created. This is my own Resilience Unlimited framework. And this is very inspired from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're familiar with that. Now, this is the way in which my program goes in, but obviously I cater things to clients. So if you're coming to me and you are really struggling with just regulating your nervous system, we're really going to start at the emotional essentials. So what does that mean? The emotional essentials. Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating enough? Are you regulating enough? What's your morning routine look like? What does your evening routine look like? How are you managing your ADHD? Have you gotten a diagnosis? Are you on medication? I mean, there's so many things to really think about because if you're like me, you're very high achieving, you're thinking about 15 steps ahead, you're working on your master's, you're working on your doctorate, you're building a business, you're a mom, you have all these things. Well, you can't get to this higher authentic self if you can't get the emotional essentials in check. So the first 3 months of coaching is really focused on you feeling good about this, not just saying, check, 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 I did this, but you're living it. Then the next stage in this pyramid of resilience is the security and comfort. Now, this is literally like, how am I feeling about things? How am I feeling comfortable in where I am in my life? Am I feeling comfortable and secure with who I am? Am I accepting my diagnosis? Am I comfortable setting boundaries with people? Can I say no? Like, these are things that we don't think about, but these are things that impact our nervous system if we don't take care of those things. The next phase in the pyramid is the connection and belonging. This is huge If we don't feel like we can be our authentic selves, because there's so many Black women that have said that. I've said that working in a school where there was so much systemic racism, I just felt like I couldn't show up as myself. If we don't feel like we have a place where we belong and can connect, that's going to impede all aspects of our lives. So we need to really roll up our sleeves and understand, who we are, what our strengths are, what we bring to the table, and find where we can connect and belong. The next pyramid, the next stage in this pyramid is the esteem and worth. So this is around month 9 through 12. So this is like we are really stable with the 3 beneath here. Now we're really focusing on tackling life's journeys. How are we keeping our esteem and worth consistent? How are we waking up and wanting to be the best version of ourselves? Are we able to push through on those character building days? We don't have bad days, we have character building days. And then 12 months and beyond, we are really working on that higher authentic self. And that is really a small part of the triangle because not a lot of people get there. Think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's that self-actualized person. So this is the pyramid of resilience for my Illuminate Her coaching program. So I want to walk you through the resilience pathway. So this is the framework in which I created. So this just goes a little in depth as to what that triangle was. So again, that emotional essentials, so your basic needs, proper nutrition, adequate sleep, regular exercise, understanding your nervous system. We as women of color carry a lot of baggage. And I don't mean that like in an Erykah Badu bad way. I mean, it could be, but we carry a lot. And a lot of it is because society puts that on us. And depending on if you are, an African culture or African American culture or Indian culture, there's a lot that we are responsible for doing, taking care of the kids, taking care of our ailing parents, taking care of our husbands, taking care of whatever. And it's like, but we can't pour from an empty cup. So really understanding your individuality here and then understanding how your signs and symptoms, or if you are diagnosed with ADHD, how does that manifest here? So we really dig deep on feelings. We really dig deep on body scans. We really dig deep on talking about, what does your nervous system look like when you're anxious or afraid or happy, all the things so you can really get in tune. Then that security and comfort again. So really finding those skills to understand how am I comfortable in my body, really understanding and embracing those challenges and not judging them with not judging the fear that we might have around certain situations that might arise, really understanding and addressing ADHD related behaviors. So the negative self-talk, the impulsivity, really understanding the taking risks and what the outcome could look like. The next step is the connection and belonging. So again, we talked about this, discovering that self-love, increasing, I'm sorry, not increasing, releasing past judgments and cultivating connections that are secure. So maybe you're getting rid of toxic people in your life. You want to be able to be around people who pour into you, not take away from you. So connection and belonging can be really tough to kind of parse through because I know for me, in my experience, some of the people that I would think would have been in my corner and loved me unconditionally really would tear me down. And that's really a hard pill to swallow when that's what you've been surrounded by most of your life. So you have to reprogram your brain and your mind for that. Esteem and self-worth. So this is really supporting you and understanding your strengths and resilience amongst your ADHD and just who you are individually and really understanding your nervous system in that. So how do you foster that self-confidence and that compassion? Are you practicing affirmations? Do you journal? Do we do mindfulness? How are we addressing and releasing and healing traumas that are within us? And then the last piece, as I said, is that higher authentic self. So we are guiding you. I am guiding you. Really, you're the driver of the car. I'm just the passenger, kind of saying, hey, look at that. Have you considered this? So guiding you to that authentic value and passion. So when you understand your core values in life, it's so easy to set boundaries. It's so easy to say no. If you don't really know what your values are, and if you don't really know your strength and your self-worth, you're just going to keep going down that winding path, waking up and doing the same thing, waking up and doing the same thing, waking up and doing the same thing, and feeling extremely frustrated, feeling like you're on that hamster wheel. So this is all about goal setting, understanding your values, living your values, and really feeling good about the choices you make, because it doesn't get easier. Life doesn't get easier when we get to that higher authentic self. It's just we know how to manage it and deal with it better. The next thing is the coaching milestones. So again, this is the framework. And these are the things we're working on. So in that emotional essentials, we're working on awareness. We're working on prioritization, routine development, adaptation, and balance. These are critical. And then in security and comfort, we're personalizing calming techniques. We're embracing the challenges. We're talking about the ADHD management. So what is that? How does that show up in your work? How does it show up in your parenting? How does it show up for you? Strategy implementation, and then skill mastery. So these are things where we're really working and digging deep in that behavioral regulation. Connection and belonging. So this is really releasing the judgments, cultivating those connections. We're going to really delve deep into self-trust and intuition. This is huge. If you don't trust yourself, you're going to really struggle with decisions. I can speak from personal experience. You need to be able to know that you are resourced and you have everything you need within you. It's just a matter of if you're going to allow yourself to do it. Having confidence in making decisions, and then also success through self-love. That's critical. When we move over to esteem and self-worth, we're really working on the strength recognition. What are you good at? I've had some clients come to me with their Clifton strengths. Let's delve into those, and how do we morph those into your core values? We can also delve into self-confidence builders, compassion, and cultivating and encouraging self-compassion. So we are really working on how are we giving ourselves space and grace, because you're going to give that to someone else who's having a hard time, but you're not giving it to yourself. We also work on that healing and growth, and that can be hard. Coaching is different from therapy. We're not going to go back to childhood. We're going to talk about how the childhood wounds are impacting your decisions now to get you to be your authentic self. So we might have to go back a little bit to address and essentially release and then heal. And then we also want to have that empowerment. That empowerment's huge. How do we thrive? And then, of course, the last stage is that higher authentic self. So really delving into those core values. Now, we do talk about core values earlier but your core values might morph as you're morphing. So that's really more of an anchor to kind of go back to when we're in the higher authentic self. More self-exploration. Maybe you've been holding yourself back from doing things you always wanted to do, but because you didn't have all these other things in place, you just kind of were living life and saying, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Goal techniques, really providing those goals. We can break down quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals. What are things you want to focus on to get where you want to be? And then, of course, we're going to find the purpose and clarity. When you work with me, one of the things clients have reported is they feel like they have gotten clarity in where they want to go. So these are the coaching milestones. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the pricing. So in my Illuminate Her coaching services, there are 3 different stages. And so I've done this in a way that makes sense, where I want to know where you are in your journey. So I always start clients off with that 3-month essentials. Okay, so this is 12 weeks of coaching every week. This is intensive. We do goal setting and assessments. There's a weekly customized assignment in a HIPAA compliant portal in which I use with all my clients. And you have Voxer access to me. And then at the end of this 3-month period, we do an emotional essential check-in. So this is really that assessment you're doing in the beginning to kind of see where you are with some of these aspects. And then at the end of the 3 months, we see how much progress you've made. Now, this package is $29.97, so $2,997, and this is monthly invoices. Now, obviously, I do payment plans as well, but this is really the basics of the pyramid and where we start off. And then after that, if you want to continue on this journey, I offer a 6-month Illuminate Her, and that's 12 calls, but it's bi-weekly. So you are not getting as much intensive coaching calls, but I am accessible. And we do goal setting around comfort and security. We have bi-weekly customized assignments, Voxer access. And then, of course, we do that same assessment again to see your growth. And this is actually a good point for you to decide, I need to continue coaching, or I think I'm good. I'll come back in a few months. And I always want you to be the driver of this because this is all about you. And then, of course, the last option is the 12-month Illuminate Her. And this is 24 biweekly calls, goal setting. And this will vary because you're in a different phase in your coaching. I also offer 2 3-hour VIP tune-ups. Now, this is really catered to whatever it is you need, really. And we can talk about that if this is a package you are interested in purchasing. And then we have Voxer access, of course, and then the check-in at the end. So I am really excited to offer this opportunity to talk to you, a free discovery call. I am not salesy at all. I actually only want to work with people who are ready to do the work and who are really interested in working with me in my style. So I hope you found this super helpful. If you want to know anything more about my coaching, my ADHD coaching for women of color, please be sure to contact me. My number's there. You can text me, you can email me, or you can just find my discovery discovery call link in the notes below or on my website. So talk soon.